Hello, Anime VISOR here,
and SiGNUM.
Doing something different today by reviewing and discussing the Granblue live-action movie.
Boo. Hiss. At the thought of live-action anime adaptations.
Now, SiGNUM, not all live-action adaptations are bad. Yes, fans have been burnt by quite a few of them over the years, but there are a handful of good ones out there.
And is Granblue one of them?
Well, let's hit play and start the video to find out. Based on a manga that started in 2014, written by Kenji Inoue and illustrated by Kimitake Yoshioka, that received an anime adaptation in 2018, the Granblue movie stars Ro Rusei as Iori Kitahara. Some of you may know him as Kyoru Red from Zuden Sentai Kroruger, Atsuhiro Inakai as Kohei Imamura. Some of you may know him as Kamen Rider Build. The movie also stars Yuki Yoda in her debut movie as Chisa Kodagawa, and idol fans may know her from Nogizaka 46. The movie is directed by Tsutomu Hanabusa, who has directed a few films and TV series, such as the live-action Kakegurui. The synopsis for the movie is a little different from the anime and manga, so I'll go over it to get everyone on the same page. The blue sea, the roar of the ocean, and the blazing sunshine. Iori has only one goal in mind when he enters university on a remote island, a rarity even in Japan: to live a beautiful college life, with like-minded friends and cute girls. And yet, something is wrong. Iori wakes up in front of the university's auditorium, with no clothes and no memory of what happened to him. He soon meets quote-unquote former otaku, Kohei, who finds himself in a similar predicament. The two eventually find out they've joined a crazy diving club that has insane drinking parties, which inevitably leads to Iori making a bad impression on his tsundere cousin Chisa. Along with her cis-con older sister Nanaka, erotic senpai Azusa, and quirky gal Aina, Iori's new college life is far from what he imagined.
You know, this movie actually seems kind of fun.
Yeah, and I'd agree. It's about an hour and 45-minute movie, and the first hour or so was gold. It does change some things from the manga and anime, but I thought those changes worked well for the movie. One, just from the synopsis, is that the movie is set on an island. The original manga and anime took place on the mainland, specifically Shizuoka Prefecture. It's a change that may seem odd at first, but being on an island is incorporated really well into the story, and even ties into some of the character development for Iori and Kohei here in the movie. A movie has a much different runtime than an anime or manga, so while the story is slightly changed to fit the confines of a movie, it very much kept things Granblue by, well, being Granblue.
Care to elaborate on that?
Sure. It's got characters learning about diving, making new friends, and of course, copious amounts of alcohol consumption.
Of course.
Quick PSA, remember to drink responsibly. The movie did change a few of the drinking antics up from the manga and anime. One is the addition of a dance the members of Peekaboo do, the name of the diving club Iori and Kohei join. It's hilarious yet terrifying, and actually used well to show how much influence Peekaboo has on the island. Another change regarding the drinking antics is related to the beginning of the movie, and how the story is initially framed. Briefly alluded to in the synopsis, but expanding on that further, not only does Iori wake up in front of the campus naked once, having no idea what happened or why he got there, but multiple times, with Kohei eventually joining him. The movie paints it almost like they are in a time loop, giving it almost a mysterious vibe on what's going on. Of course, if you're familiar with Granblue, you'll pick up rather quickly that a heavy night of drinking the day before is the cause. but it was really entertaining watching Iori and Kohei trying to piece everything together day after day. Another fun drinking hijinks change is during the Izu contest with Chisa. Not only was the scene funny, but it was set up very well earlier in the movie. Keen-eye Grand Blue fans will realize that's not water she's drinking. You could make the argument that Chisa should be able to tell the difference between water and alcohol, but she's become quite the drinker in the manga these days, so I'll let it slide, as it all does set up for a fun scene in the movie. As I said, the first hour or so of this movie is gold. I thought it was really funny, and it had me in stitches at times. But during the last 45 or so minutes, some pacing issues start to creep in. It introduces Aina and Iori's scum friends from college, as well as finally starts focusing on diving. It packs a lot of stuff in the last 45 minutes. Those scenes are still really funny. I really like seeing the misunderstanding at the pool scene in live action, but it kind of feels like they had 60 or 70 minutes of content that they had to get down to 45. I also think it could have done a little bit better job with the underwater scenes. The acting underwater is pretty good, but I felt the movie could have had more shots of coral, fish, and other plants and animals in the ocean, really showing how majestic the ocean can be. It's okay, but compared to some of the footage from the Grand Blue voice actor's diving experience that was bundled with the anime's Blu-ray, it's really night and day. Though that all might be due to climate change and rising ocean temperatures over the last 2 or so years. Also dealing with the underwater scenes, it looked like Yuki Yoda was filmed at a different time than everyone else. I don't think there was a single close-up shot of her in frame with anyone, and with the lighting looking different at times between her and the others, I'm willing to bet they filmed her at a different time for some reason or another. It doesn't hurt the movie too much, but when you think about how much Iori appreciates Chisa, showing him stuff about diving and the ocean in the manga and anime, I was a bit surprised there wasn't just one nice shot of just the two of them together underwater.
You mentioned the underwater acting earlier. How was the acting during the rest of the film?
I'm not an expert on acting, and I'm not a native Japanese speaker, so take my thoughts with a grain of salt, but I thought everyone did a good job. Ro Rusei and Atsuhiro Inokai did a fine job as Iori and Kohei, even while running around naked. I think the person that surprised me the most was Yuka Ogura, who plays Azusa. I'm not too familiar with her previous roles, but I thought she did a good job capturing the spirit of Azusa. However, Yuki Yoda is the least experienced actor here, and it kind of shows. Some of her delivery felt a little stiff with a few of her lines. That being said, Chisa is probably one of the harder characters to portray, as even in the manga and anime, she's not the most talkative person. She very rarely vocalizes her feelings, so the anime and manga rely a lot on facial expressions and body language to get Chisa's feelings across to the viewer or reader. And in that regard, I think Yuki Yoda did a pretty good job, because there is a subtle change in Chisa over the course of the movie, and a lot of that relies on the facial expressions and body language Yuki Yoda was able to produce. So Yuki Yoda is not a bad actress, it seems, just a little raw still. Clearly, the movie isn't perfect. There were some pacing issues in the last 45 minutes, and the underwater scenes could have been handled a little better, with a couple of acting issues here and there, but none of that kills the movie. It was still very funny, especially in the beginning, and even though there are differences between the movie and the anime and manga, it still carried a lot of the same themes, staying pretty faithful to the source material and characters, something a bad live-action adaptation wouldn't do.
Agreed.
So if you're a fan of the Grand Blue manga or anime, I do think it's worth checking out, especially for all the drunken hijinks. Again, it is different, but very much stays true to Grand Blue. With all that said, what are your thoughts on the live-action Grand Blue movie? Let us know in the comments below. As always, I've been Anime Visor.
And I've been SiGNUM.
Thanks for watching, and see you later.
Bye bye.